Today we will cover Starbucks, as they recently switched their CEO from Laxman Narasimhan to Brian Niccol, a veteran in this sector since he managed successfully Chipotle. So is this man worth 20 billion US? Hi, this is Stocks in the Wild, where we discuss interesting stocks you find nearly everywhere. Starbucks, a company you probably all love or hate, today their main business model is not a product by itself. Instead, they are selling a service and a feeling. The initial business model was different from today's, since they started in the 1970s by selling high-quality coffee beans and equipment and no coffee to go. It was not until 1987 when Starbucks started selling espresso. A year later, the three founders sold Starbucks to the former director of marketing, Schulz. Under his leadership, quote, Starbucks then embarked on an aggressive expansion, growing from 11 stores in 1987 to over 30,000 globally today. Schulz's strategy focused on creating a third place between home and work, emphasizing customer experience, premium coffee, and a cozy atmosphere. End quote. In 1992, Starbucks went public for an initial stock price of $17 a share, equivalent to 27 cents today, with stock splits taken into account. Despite only 12% of Starbucks was sold publicly, its stock rose by 70% in the first year. Fast forward to 2020, when the pandemic hit us all, Starbucks collapsed by over 30% to around $65 per share. The price level it hit last in 2017, or nearly back in 2015. While coffee stores were immediately closed and delivery service is not Starbucks' main revenue driver, its earnings were not in a good shape. Just for comparison, nowadays Starbucks delivery tries to aim for $1 billion in revenue, which would only be around 10%. After the COVID shock, when the stock market in general hit new record levels in July 2021, Starbucks also marked its last all-time high at $121. In 2022, when prices start to rise due to high inflation, we last have seen since 1980 customers again avoid spending more on pricey coffee and going out for dinner. Additionally, another lagging effect of the pandemic hit Starbucks, since many people started investing in more expensive coffee machines when working from home. Especially the home barista hype started to convince more people to upgrade their Nespresso or full auto machines to a manual portafilter machine. When prices skyrocketed and people were forced to save more money, they first tried to avoid going out for an espresso. Recently, Starbucks lost its glamour, since it felt more and more complex due to its insane product range and possible combinations. The New York Times lately published an opinion piece trying to emphasize Starbucks' quote, bazillion possible orders and why it's killing the company, end quote. Since Starbucks itself says there are more than 170,000 possible drink combinations available, outside estimates have put the number at more than 300 billion. Additionally, small independent espresso and coffee bars can attract coffee lovers a lot more because their baristas stay focused on a simple product like espresso, cappuccino, or latte.
What do you think about Arnaldo here?
This is his work, and I think it's amazing. He creates a beautiful experience for me every single morning, and that's why I come to Cafe Grumpy, because I always leave happy.
I feel like I underestimated the power of a cup of coffee for people.
Don't do that. It's a bad look. I like to feel special in the morning, and that's how Arnaldo makes me feel.
I feel like he makes a lot of people here feel special.
While Starbucks started to add self-ordering machines, the vibe for coffee lovers was definitely killed when entering the store. Starbucks feels like Apple in 1996 when Steve Jobs returned as CEO. Apple's lineup was completely diversified and complex. Jobs' first initiative was to realign their focus again. Of course, Brian Niccol was never Starbucks CEO before, but his track record is known in the food and service industry. Another argument for him is, quote, the stock price of Chipotle has increased by almost 8 times under Niccol. But now we have to ask the question, is this man worth 20 billion US? Well, at least this is what the stock of Starbucks jumped up in the market cap when announcing Niccol as new CEO. Even though Niccol is a well-proven CEO of Chipotle, it's unclear if he can change the tide at Starbucks. And if he will improve Starbucks lineup from over 170,000 variations of products to a reasonable number, there will be more work to do, especially in China, where, quote, Starbucks would open a store there every 9 hours over a 3-year span. But as crazy as it sounds, the 2 top competitors in China, like Luckin Coffee, opens a new outlet every hour on average. Finally, as an investor, you should not underestimate Starbucks' threat by more trendy drinks such as bubble tea. Now you know how one person can decisive for one's company future health and its stock, and the next time you're out in the wild, you will recognize this sign and what tremendous CEO replacement Starbucks just went through.